Welcome everybody. Pleased to say Nicola's with me, so is Jodie for the first part of the session. I'm going to pass you over to Nicola. Go on, Nicola.
Thank you. My name is Nicola Jones. I'm the Head of Quality and Governance at DMC Healthcare, and we're going to talk about our campaign, a mental health campaign aimed at young people that we've called Ellie's Journal. So during our monthly safeguarding meeting, we discussed the impact of COVID and the increasing rate we were seeing of young people's suicides. At DMC, we have 6 GP practices, which include mental health nurses. And after discussing at our primary care governance meeting, we set up a small working group to see if and how we could support. We started in December with a small group of myself, Kirsty, our practice manager at Iowade, and Scott, our mental health nurse. Scott suggested someone also that he thought could be involved, and Jodie joined our group. We started discussing ideas and soon agreed that the way we could look at helping young people was through the eyes of Ellie. We are now 10 months along, and Ellie's Journal has become a successful campaign that is supporting young people more than we ever dreamed possible. And I am certain that you will agree by the end of our presentation what an inspirational young lady Ellie was, and through her work to improve her own health and well-being, she's been able to help so many others. I'm going to hand you over to Jodie, Ellie's mum now, who will tell you a bit more about Ellie and the campaign.
Thank you, Nicola, and thank you all for being here today. I'm Ellie's mum, Jodie. So Ellie's story. So Ellie was like many teenagers, and she struggled with the pressures of today's society. She was bullied and she had low self-esteem, and she battled with the way she looked, always comparing herself to the beauty portrayed online. She also had to juggle the ongoing pressures of education along with the difficult transformation from girl to woman. All these factors contributed to Ellie's battle with anxiety, and life took its toll on her, and she became quite unhappy. And she suffered headaches, tummy aches, sleepless nights, and she was irritable or sad most of the time. But one day Ellie decided she'd had enough of that, and she found an inner strength and sought the help of the local healthcare services. So we got in touch with Scott Jones and the community psychiatric nurse, and Ellie began to talk with him regularly. And she also accessed the children's talking therapies, but that was a long 12 weeks before she could speak with them, and that felt like a lifetime to a desperate Ellie. However, she was determined to start her recovery straight away. So she began to use some self-help methods, and she began to log her thoughts and her feelings in a journal each day. She wrote and repeated daily affirmations, and she scored her well-being in an attempt to rewire her mind into thinking positively. And she'd also meditate and use healing crystals and mindfulness techniques to clear her mind and help her feel calm and relaxed. And she began eating healthily and exercising too. Over several months, Ellie became the best version of herself she could be. Positive energy really did shine through, and she was so happy and confident and really healthy. She really loved life and herself once more. She was determined to help others feel that way as well. But it was agreed that Ellie no longer needed the support of Scott or the mental health team, and that she'd call them if she needed them in the future. Then in November last year, Ellie was sadly taken from us. She was hit by a car, and she suffered brain injuries and died in hospital 3 days later. Losing Ellie left a huge gap in our lives. Such a special daughter, sister, grandchild, and friend to so many, taken from us too soon. But just as Ellie was positive and successful in changing her life, we wondered how her inspirational and very brave story could be shared with others to help them and also leave a legacy in her name. So after some time, I began to look through all of Ellie's things, and as a creative young lady, she'd left a variety of media which really expressed her journey. Her paintings, her poems, her journals, and of course her social media posts. And it was really clear to see that journey. So I began to piece it all together. The healthcare team and I agreed that we should use Ellie's story to help other young people. And we hope that by telling Ellie's story, in a style and format that's familiar to young people, that it will really resonate with them, and that it will give them hope and show them that there is always a choice. So I created a video using Ellie's own posts, pictures and journal inserts, and I made it in the style of an Instagram or Snapchat type of story, so it would get their attention. And so the campaign began. The healthcare team began to develop the online journal to be used as a tool by young people to help them in the same way that Ellie's journals helped her. And Ellie's best friend Tom was on board and helped us make it look appealing to them, and in a style and format that they'll find familiar. So that journal is now live on the DMC website, and it's already helping many young people in the local community, and schools here have begun to introduce it to their students, and they're keen to use it as a mental health support tool going forward. But we wanted to do more than this, and with the journal now live and news of it spreading, the campaign had really grown. So many charities and organisations are keen to support it and use it to help young people in their communities. So we began to think about how we can do that in the best way, and what would be the best way to reach and offer this help to the widest audience. And we could see that the online journal was being used and had some great feedback, but we knew that it would be accessed by a much wider audience if we could offer it as part of a mental health support app. A successful application for an innovation fund has now made this a real possibility. So we formed a working group of Ellie's friends and her siblings, and we call them Ellie's Angels. And we meet regularly to discuss ideas, and together we're developing that platform that will help the user to look after their own mental health in many of the ways that Ellie did, and most importantly, offer them support and guidance in a way that they're familiar with, whether they wish to use the app as a support tool while they too are waiting on a long list for professional help, or just as an everyday boost for their well-being. Our group of Ellie's Angels are so passionate about making the change in the way that mental health support is offered to them. We know there'll always be so much more work needed when it comes to supporting young people, and we're in this mental health pandemic, and the statistics are just climbing at an alarming rate. We want to continue to provide better services for our future generation and to continue to work alongside the healthcare sector to make that difference. So we've established a charity, Ellie's Angels, and whilst in its infancy, we've already built the new website and worked on in partnership with DMC to raise awareness and funds for the charity, Mind, when we joined them for a 10-mile walk. But our work, however, we won't stop there. We will continue to raise the funds to further develop and support the app, and to continue to build upon its features and provide a platform that continues to meet the needs of its generation. We'll continue to highlight the mental health support needed for our young people, and to just normalise it for them in a way that in any way we can. Well, we hope that Ellie's story will create an awareness of mental health support needs, and actually that it will encourage schools to include regular discussions about mental health in their curriculum. We hope that seeing this real life case, it will normalise mental health for those young people. And our campaign isn't about Ellie's tragic death. It's about her very brave choice to really live. So we hope Ellie's story will help many others, and we hope that it may even save some lives.
Thank you, Jodie. I think, Scott, did you want to say something here?
Yes, I was going to use some statistics to try and highlight the impact, especially the last year, has had on our young people. And I will use a couple, but I think more importantly, I'd rather talk about the impact that Ellie has had on myself as a professional. You know, I've been in this job for 32 years now, and you know, there have been some developments, but you look at things, a GFK moment in your life, a moment that stands out, and this young lady was my GFK moment. She has, you know, changed how I look at things with the words that she used, what she's given us, the tools that she's given us. I genuinely believe that we can change a generation. We can impact on various people of various ages. We can do the one thing that a lot of government-led advertisements have failed to do, and that is create conversation with our young people. You know, statistically in 2017, 1 in 9 children or young people from the age of 5 to 16 had a probable diagnosable mental health problem. In the last year, that's escalated to 1 in 6. In the last year, of the young people, upwards of 80% of them have either self-harmed and thoughts of self-harm or attempted to take their life. You know, as Jodie said, Ellie made a brave choice to choose to live, and I genuinely believe if that horrible incident hadn't happened, we would still be doing this. Ellie would be at the forefront of this. She would be the one dragging us along, pushing us along, making us change what we can do for our young people and the generations after that. I have, you know, when Jodie and I first started talking about this, our aspirations were to go into our local schools, talk to our children, let them realise that mental health has got arms and legs just like everyone else. But it's grown and it's expanded, and it gives me goosebumps every time I think about this, that what we've created from this really small acorn could be life-changing for some people. And I genuinely believe that. And I think that's all I really want to say.
So, and Kirsty, just before we go into the campaign, Kirsty, you've got additional things to say.
Thank you, Nicola. We knew early on that we would need to progress the journal into a digital platform that could be accessible and more appealing to young children. We wanted to create a tool that could help support young children whilst they were on a waiting list waiting for a service, or to use in conjunction with the help and support they were already receiving. As Jodie has mentioned to you all, we got together with Ellie's Angels, and they have come up with some fantastic ideas and contents which will be featured in our app. And I just want to go over a few of those ideas that they've suggested. They wanted a clean, bright design that incorporates colours that Ellie liked and that are also calming to the user. Affirmations, we have a bank of over 300 that the user can choose from, and these can be saved or shared by the user. A chatbot, which will act as a digital format of the journal. It will ask the users questions such as how they are feeling. They can then either type in how they are feeling or simply respond with an emoji or picture. Depending on what response they give, they will then receive a message back which is tailored to the response the user has just provided. We are also working on trigger words that will alert the system to any safeguarding concerns. This will then direct the person to a service that will then be able to provide them with the help and support they need. Ellie's Angels asked for a look back tracker, where the user could see how their week or month has been. This is being designed in a calendar format. To make the app more personal, they asked for avatars to be added to the user's account. There will be a number of preset avatars options that people can choose from, or they will be able to upload their own picture or photo. Achievements. Ellie's Angels like the idea of receiving achievements. They want to keep them very simple, as they do not want them to become a negative thing. For example, you can get achievements of saving or sharing an affirmation, or for simply placing your phone on night mode. The most important page to all of us is the help and support page. We knew that by placing the app on the App Store and Play Store, it would be open to a wider audience. So we asked for the help and support page to be broken down to show the available services in the user's local area. The user types in the postcode and all the services available to them will show. This page will also explain how the user can access help from that service, whether it's online, by text, or by phone. It will directly link them to that service with one click of a button, and this saves them from having to go out of the app and finding that service themselves. With all of the above taking shape, we then needed to decide on a name for our app. We wanted to use this opportunity to share with you all what the app will be called. The name that we all have decided on is Better You. The logo will show as Be You. The app will be available from this November. We hope that the simple design and use of this app will encourage our young people to look after themselves and their mental health and to choose happy.
Thank you, Kirsty. So you are the first privileged audience that we've actually shared the name of that app. So don't forget it and keep an eye out for it. I want to show you just the digital journal that we currently have that is being developed into the app. So I'm just going to attempt to share my screen. Let's hope this works. Okay, can you see my screen? And the journal. Ah, brilliant. Okay. So as we said, originally the downloadable journal is in the style of a mobile phone. So we've attempted to make it as appealing to young people as we can. I'm just going to go through a few of these points. We have the initial part of it, which is the introduction to Ellie, and we've maintained that within the app as well. And this is used in the style of an Instagram post, so it's more appealing to young people. Throughout, we have information about Ellie's story, and again, we've retained that within the app as we feel it's a really important part of the message that we're giving. I'm whizzing through because I'm conscious of the time, but the motto that we have throughout this journal and our app is Ellie chose happy and so can you, and we really want that message to be apparent to the user as they use the journal or the app. We've got various parts of a video that I will show you in a second, and there's a QR code that you can access the video that we will show you in just a second. And then we move on to the user. So we give them an insight into Ellie, but we also then move on to what this means for the user. And throughout the journal, we have extracts of Ellie's own journal, so that it helps steer the user of how she constructed her journal. They don't have to repeat that, but it gives them an idea of how she used that and repeated those same indicators. Affirmations, as Kirsty and Jodie have both mentioned, are a key part of our app as well. There's something that Ellie used continuously, and we have those throughout the journal. And then we have a journal that is 31 days long, and the user can use. This is downloadable. This is not saved anywhere. We don't have access to it or anything. It's not saved on a cloud or anything. So I'm just going to scroll down right the way through past the journal part, and we finish with more information and extracts of Ellie's journal as well, so that as you'll see as you go through, you see the positive change that Ellie made. So there's a flow to the way that we've used the extracts. And then in the downloadable journal, we've got local help support, but some of these are national programs. So we have a few support networks here. In the app, we have many more options available. And we finish up with a part about DMC and how we can help as well. So that's our first journal. That's what we're using currently. But the app will be so much more magnificent than just this. This is amazing, but the app will be so much more user-friendly and accessible to more people across the whole country. And I just want to finish now. I'm just going to finish on the video that Jodie referred to finish our presentation.
Was like many teenage girls. She struggled. Ellie was like many teenage girls. She struggled with the pressures of today's society. She was bullied and had low self-esteem and battled with anxiety. But she was strong, she was brave, and she chose to turn her life around. Ellie chose happy, and so can you.
Moments, they've been everything, and just like magic can make the whole world sing. That look in your eyes, oh, the joy it brings when I hold you and you hold me. I know we're not not what we used to be. But we carry so much history put on my shelves, and I rode the wind that led me here to you. I'd do it all again. I know it won't always be the same. Feelings don't change, they never fade away. When you're far from home, it's hard to know the way, but it's right there inside. When you need direction, look to the stars. If you don't know where you're headed, follow your heart. When you're lost, I will guide you. Oh, I'm right there beside you, like a map of your memories. And just like a compass that leads the way, we may take the long road, but I'll never find. When you're lost, I will guide you. Oh, tell me you'll try through. Remember on the darker days, love is a compass. I see you there when I'm in my dreams, and just like a child full of possibilities, I can't help but smile at the wonders of the world. 'Cause I know I've been there before. I know it won't always be the same. Feelings don't change, they never fade away. When you're far from home, it's hard to know the way, but it's right there inside. No, when you need direction, try close your eyes. If you don't know where you're headed, just hold on tight. When you're lost, I will guide you, 'cause I'm right here beside you. In every memory, and just like a compass that leads the way, we may take the long road, but I'll never find. When you're lost, I'll guide you. I'll tell you, I'll try to remember on the darker days, love is a compass.
Thank you. That's our presentation.
Thank you, Nicola and Jodie and Scott. A really powerful reflection of, how Ellie, what she represented and what she meant to you, and how it's made a massive impact to your practice and how you're trying to influence other people. I'm sure that Ellie's legacy will come on for a very long time. Now come over to our colleagues regarding Headstart, I believe. Is it Grace and Eleanor? Are you doing the presentation?
Hi everyone. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Just want to say thanks to Jodie and Nicola and the team as well, because I'm sure like everyone else I found that very moving. And yeah, I can't wait for the app to be released in November. I think that's going to help, so many young people. So thank you. Yes, as Kevin kindly said, I'm Grace Dennis. I'm a project manager for a programme called Headstart Kent. And I'm joined today by my colleague Ellie.
Hiya, I'm Ellie Ransley-Hoare and I'm the Resilience Hub Project Officer for Headstart Kent.
Thanks, Ellie. So we haven't got too long with you today, so we're going to dive right in and tell you a little bit about the Headstart Kent programme, and then some of the tools and the resources that have been developed by young people to support resilience and emotional wellbeing. These are available now, so do keep this in mind as we go through. In order to make today's session nice and interactive, or as interactive as we possibly could, you'll be pleased to know we're going to attempt to do a quiz with you, because who hasn't had enough of virtual 18 months. When we get into the quiz in a moment, we'll tell you how to participate, so sit tight, we'll give you all the instructions in a moment. Unfortunately, we don't have an actual prize for you at the end of the quiz today. I'm really sorry, but our gift today to you is hopefully some useful tools and resources that you or young people that you're working with or families that you're working with can hopefully benefit from. Okay, so let me just give you a little bit of an overview of the Headstart Kent programme. For those of you who don't know, Headstart is a national lottery community funded programme which was set up about 5 years ago to support young people's resilience and emotional wellbeing. Kent is one of 6 partnerships in England, and we were lucky enough to receive funding over a 5-year preventative programme. And our work involves working directly with young people. That's really important to us here in Headstart. Co-production is key. And also linking in with schools across Kent, with community organisations, and of course our colleagues in KCC and wider as well. As I said, our programme is centred around co-production. So this has meant that young people have been involved in so many elements of the Headstart programme throughout, from designing to then delivery and evaluation, and they continue to be directly involved today. So for the past 5 years, we've tested a variety of tools, resources and support for young people to ensure that we meet our 3 key goals, which young people told us that they wanted us to achieve over the lifetime of the programme. And those goals that young people told us were: my well-being is not impacted by the pressure to achieve and to be perfect, that there's always someone for me to talk to, and that people around me understand well-being and resilience. You can find out a little bit more about the programme and what we're offering currently on www.kentresilienchub.org.uk. And I think my colleague's going to put the link in the chat for you so you can take a look around, and you can hopefully discover what you can access as a staff member, or for any young people or families that you might be working with as well. So, as I said, we've set up a quiz to try and make today a little bit more interactive, and we're going to use a website called Menti for the quiz, which some of you might have used before. So to join the quiz in a moment, you can either use your laptop, so you can open a new tab, or you're welcome to use your mobile phone as well to participate. That's absolutely fine. But if for any reason you can't access the quiz using Menti, we'll read the questions so you can still participate using old-fashioned pen and paper as well, if that's what you prefer. So to join the quiz, Ellie's going to put the website in the chat, but it's a website called menti.com, and that's MENTI.com. So either on your laptops or your tablets or your phones, if you just want to head over to that website, and I'll give you a minute to do that. And once you join, you should see a code, or you should get prompted to put a code in. And I think Ellie's going to put the link in the chat for you as well. But the code to join our quiz today is 13160506. I'll repeat that again in a minute. Oh, lovely. Ellie's popped it in the chat. So I'll just give you a moment to join, and hopefully, all being well, you should see a screen that says get ready to play. So the suspense is building, everybody, of our quiz this morning that we've got for you. Nicola, I can see you on screen, so can you just give me a nod that you've joined and you're ready to play? Has it come up? Fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to launch the first question. All being well in this virtual space, it works and we don't lose anybody. But in a minute, you should see the first question pop up and a countdown. And if you answer quickly, you get more points as well. Okay, so the first question is just loading. What is meant when we talk about resilience? What is meant when we talk about resilience? And we've got a few options. Adapting well in the face of challenges, adversity and stress, recovering quickly from difficulties, knowing when you need help and reaching out, bending, not breaking, or empowering you to grow and improve as you go through life. All right, 3, 2, 1, time's up. Okay, so if I load the results and I can see what everybody chose. Oh, we've got a complete equal split. I don't think I can even choose a top one of who chose what there. But that was a little bit of a trick question, because when we put that question in, we decided that we wanted to make sure that all of the answers actually reflected resilience. So in the end, it didn't matter which one you chose. But we in Kent like to use the definition of resilience that was created by young people here in Kent. And they chose the ability to bounce back from problems in life. And we use this definition in Headstart, not only because young people came up with it, but because we think it's nice and memorable. And you might have heard resilience being described as bouncing forward, because either yourself or perhaps young people that you're working with, they would be stronger as a result of adversity and bouncing forward. But young people in Kent told us that they felt bouncing back was the first step. So the ability to bounce back from problems is the definition that we hold in mind in Headstart.
So resilience is all about having the right tools to support you during adversity and life's challenges. And with this in mind, it is important to ensure that young people have the tools or strengths in their life to pull on during times of adversity, but also to make sure young people have the knowledge of where to go for support if their tools aren't enough as well. So now let's move on and look at some of the young person-led tools and resources that are on offer through Headstart Kent and how to access them and how to get the most from them. The first one that we wanted to tell you a little bit about today is a resource called Pay It Forward, and some of you might have already heard of Pay It Forward. Essentially, it's a grant scheme that's available to young people to enable them to do something positive for others. And the idea of offering a grant of up to £1,000 to fund projects which help others came from young people in Kent themselves, as they recognised the benefit of working with others and helping them. And they told us it gave them a sense of purpose and simply made them feel good about themselves as well. By getting involved in a Pay It Forward project, they're then building that network of support around them as well. The applications for the grant funding are actually assessed by young people here in Kent, and they're trained up to then assess them. So they decide who gets the funding. So the whole process enables young people to benefit and build their resilience in many ways. So our second quiz question for you today is all about Pay It Forward. So if you look at your screens again on Menti, whether on your laptops or your tablets or your phones, hopefully, all being well, we should get a second question appear. Okay, it's just loading. So the second question is, how much money do you think has been granted through the Pay It Forward scheme so far? £55,000, £140,000, £190,000 or £310,000? Right, time's up. Oh, we've got a very even split. The correct answer was, in fact, £140,000 has been granted so far. And we still have £50,000 of funding available for projects for Pay It Forward scheme alone. And these projects can benefit anybody in the community, whether that's in school, in a club or a group. It could be an environmental project, or it could even be a project to support a specific group of people, such as we've had Christmas dinners held in local elderly people's homes. That was a Pay It Forward project previously. The only prerequisite is that young people are directly involved with the application, so it's their project to own. And if you want to find out more about Pay It Forward, do head to our website and you can find all the details there. Okay, so the next resource or tool that we wanted to highlight to you today is something called a Talents and Interests grant scheme. And again, some of you might have heard of this funding through the Reconnect programme. Essentially, there's a pot of funding available to support children and young people aged 5 to 19 across Kent access their hobbies and interests or try something new. Young people told us that when they're doing something they enjoy or trying a new hobby, that it supports them to feel better and it's developed their confidence, their self-esteem, and they've made new friends too. So we're going to launch our third quiz question of today, all being well, all about talents and interests. Bear with me. Right, I'll just launch the countdown. So the third question is all about talents and interests, and it's how many children and young people do you think have benefited from a talents and interest grant to date? Do you think there's been 200 young people, 350 young people, 500 young people, or 1,000 young people? A couple more seconds left, and then we can see the results. Hey, well done to everybody that chose 500 young people. That's correct. To date, we've had nearly 500 young people benefiting from receiving a talents and interest grant so far, which is fantastic. And as we said previously, the funding for this scheme is still available now. So if you are working with a child or a young person aged 5 to 19, we would encourage you to get your applications in, as the funding won't last forever. So if a child or young person attends a school in Kent or attends a group or a club, they're all eligible. A key worker or a staff member can apply for that grant on their behalf. Grants of up to £300 are available for individual children or young people, and we've got up to £1,000 for group applications as well. And this can fund equipment or travel or the cost of memberships or clubs or lessons. Previous examples of things that we funded include gym memberships and sports clubs, singing lessons and drama clubs, boxing lessons, photography equipment. We've had makeup and nail equipment as well, and even animal care. So like I said, if you've got somebody in mind who would benefit, or you'd just like to know a little bit more about the grant, do head to our website, kentresilienchub.org.uk, and search talents and interests. Okay, so I'm now going to hand over to Ellie, who's going to tell you a little bit about the Moonspark website, which is for young people.
Hi, everyone. So at the beginning of the programme, young people requested a website that was just for them. They didn't want information for schools or guidance for their parents. It was just content that had them at the centre. As a result, they came up with the concept for moonspark.org.uk, and Grace will put the link in the chat for you to take a look around. This site offers a whole range of quizzes, activities, magazine-style articles, and much more. We thought today we would tell you a little bit about two of the specific sections on the site. The first one is Draw Your Own Solution. This is a campaign that was launched in 2020, and the premise behind it is that there are many ways in which you can support your emotional well-being and resilience, but you need to find what works for you. It isn't about a one-size-fits-all approach. Later in the campaign, the message was adapted to simply, "You've got this," as we saw young people returning to school following the first lockdown. You may not have seen this campaign. For many of us, the campaign was hidden as we used targeted approaches directly at young people on social media and through Spotify advertising, to name a few. But we did use out-of-home advertising too, so you may have seen some adverts on the side of buses and even at your local supermarket. As we developed the campaign, we reflected on the aims of the programme, in particular, people around me understand wellbeing and how to promote it. So it was really important that this campaign acknowledged the role of parents and carers in supporting young people. We created a webinar for parents and carers, which was and is still available at any time on the Resilience Hub website. So we've got another question for you, and Grace will load that up on Menti.
Yeah, the leaderboard is changing after every question.
Okay. So the next question is, how many views has the Parent Carer webinar received since going live? 3,045, 15,879, 24,510, or 35,674.
Oh, 3, 2, 1. Time's up.
Okay.
Oh, again, everybody's doing really well with these quiz questions. Chose option number 3, which was 24,510.
That's fantastic. That is actually the total number of views that the webinar has received since October 2020. And in January, when we were in lockdown, it received a whopping 2,255 views in just one day. So it's a really popular webinar for parents and carers. But back to Moonspark, another section that we have on there is the Resilience Awards. And again, this section was developed by young people, and the whole concept came from young people. And this was with the support of the Emotional Wellbeing Participation team. The team work with young people that have accessed mental health services within Kent or are on the waiting list. And the awards are really simple. This is about young people recognising what they have done that supports their resilience. There are 4 awards. So there's Ready to Learn, Kindness Champion, Skills Superstar, and Mental Health Hero. All young people have to do is fill out a form and say how they have met the requirements, submit evidence if they can, and in return they receive certificates and badges. This is a great scheme as it's giving young people back control. It empowers them to say, I did that, I took responsibility and I stepped up. And it's not as if the awards are looking for young people to do something that goes above and beyond. It's about the everyday things. So let's have another quiz question, and this is the last one of the day. If Grace, you can load it for me, please.
Yeah, be pleased to know this is the last one. It's loading. Answer fastest to get more points. Little reminder there.
Okay, so what can a young person do to receive a Ready to Learn award? Make their own way to school, extra studying for a test, packing their school bag with time to spare, or undertaking extracurricular activities such as a Duke of Edinburgh Award?
3, 2, 1. Time's up. Let's see the results. The majority of people chose undertaking extracurricular activities, Ellie.
Oh, well, actually, it can be any of those things. What young people felt was important was that all of us are starting from different places. So for a young person that's never been on a school bus before, taking that step is massive. Whereas a young person that's taken the bus every day, they may meet another young person at the bus stop that hasn't been there before. They might say hello to them, give an encouraging smile, maybe even just have a chat to that person on the bus, and that would earn them a Kindness Champion award. So it really is about those everyday things. Since the awards were launched, we have recognised 84 young people who have acted as Kindness Champions, 52 young people who have supported their mental health, 57 have learnt a new skill or improved an existing one, and last year with school switching between virtual and face-to-face, 46 young people shared with us how they had prepared for this by achieving their Ready to Learn badge. Grace, can you tell us who the winner of the quiz is, please?
The winner of our fabulous quiz today was somebody called Heidi B. So Heidi B, whoever you are, well done. You
Well
were the
done,
winner.
Heidi.
Finger. Yeah, well done.
So there is just a taster of some of the young people-led tools and resources available through the Headstart Kent programme. We hope you'll check out the Kent Resilience Hub website, not only for some of the resources we've shared with you today, but for further opportunities for young people you may be working with. Do contact us after today's event if you've got any queries and want to know more about anything we've mentioned, or just the programme in general. Many thanks for listening and getting involved today. We'll now hand you back over to Kevin. Thank you.